Okay, so welcome in this fourth lecture of the BZT. So we have completed the basic information about the BZT and then the common base configuration. And now in the fourth lecture after a gap of the 1 or 2 weeks. So now today we will go and cover this common emitter configuration. So what about the common configuration, current equations, input and output characteristics, and current gain. Okay, so wait, I need to share a screen first. Just wait, if it's working fine, I have to check that. Oh, good. So currently, this is the working one. Okay, so I think this is the there. Okay, so we'll start with this 4 topics. Okay, now I will share this part. Where was this one? Okay, so now the common emitter configuration. So we will talk about the common emitter configuration. So see that now we have to do the common to emitter. Earlier we have done the common to the base. So we will talk about the common to emitter. So this emitter section will be common to this base and collector. It's working fine. Thank you. Okay. So when we talk about this common emitter, the emitter is common with the base and emitter is common with the collector. And that's what we are saying it's a common emitter. If you remember in earlier case when it's a base, the base was in common and base was common with the first emitter and then the base was common with the collector. Okay. And that's why it was called common base. Now it's a common emitter. Now you can see that it's an NPN transistor. We know that it's NPN transistor. So NPN transistor, if it is NPN transistor, the first N will be the emitter one. See that the first N is the emitter one. The P will be the base one. So P is the base one, and the second N, okay, that will be the collector one. Okay. Now since there is now we have a two. I told that the transistor is a 2-port device. Okay. So one port will give input, and some other side you are taking the output. You can do the vice versa also. Now you have here one PN junction diode, okay, that will be the J2, and another PN junction diode will be junction J1. So this base emitter, okay, one will be the base emitter junction diode, and another will be the collector base, this one. Okay, as we know that if it is an NPN transistor, irrespective of whatever the configuration is, the current will come out from the emitter. So if current will come out from the emitter, see that the current is coming out from the emitter, then the current will go from the base and collector. So see that the current is going inside from the base and collector. No definition is changing. It's a definition we are carrying when we discuss about the NPN transistor. Without irrespective of what configuration is, when it is an NPN transistor, then the current will come out from the emitter end and current will enter from the base and collector end. And that's why we have a current equation I is equal to IB plus IC. So same theory will work here also. We don't have to take anything extra, just from whatever information we have in the past, we are just adding here. So simple one thing we will start from, this is a common emitter. So emitter will make common and all other thing will carry. Okay, so we are done with that. Current is coming out from here and the current is coming in from this base end. Current is coming in from this collector. Now, since this is a base emitter, okay, now you know that in any type of this transistor, okay, and if it's an NPN transistor, the first, okay, the base emitter, we are talking about the base emitter, okay, this is your base emitter, and base emitter will be, for the active case, for the active mode of transistor, this should be in the forward bias, okay, this should be in the forward bias. So see that P type is added with the higher voltage, N side with the lower voltage, so it's a forward bias. So input is from the forward bias. Okay. Now output should be the reverse bias. So see that N type is added with the higher voltage, and this P type will be added with the lower voltage. Okay, that's what it's a reverse bias. Now, so the one is the base and emitter, okay, and another is with the emitter and collector. So again, remember, the first where you are putting the input should be in the forward bias. You are getting the output, that should be in the reverse bias. Okay, so that's what it is in the forward bias and it is in the reverse bias. Okay. Now we have a two junction. That one is called junction J1 and the another is called junction J2. So now here junction J1 is the collector based junction and junction J2 is the emitter based junction. Okay. You may want to recall what we have junctions in the previous case. See that it's a common to, since base is common. So earlier the emitter base I called J1 and the collector base I called J2. Here it is changed one. But see the property I have changed with purposefully so that you can't be a recalling like, okay, you have to understand. That's why I have changed the J1 and J2. So you have to get to understand why what is the meaning of when it is forward, what is the meaning it is reverse. You can't carry the earlier one. Okay, so we'll come to again this portion. Okay, so now the collector base becomes here J1 and emitter base becomes here J2. Now I have to use this in the active mode. I told you for the active mode, input should be in the forward bias and the output should be in the reverse bias. So see, this is my input. This is my input end, okay, and this input end is with a J2. That's why I told J2 is emitter base. So this is emitter and base. So J2 is in should be in the forward bias. So for active mode, emitter base junction J2 should be in the forward bias, and the output, that is the collector and emitter. Wait. And the J1, that is a collector base, that should be in the reverse bias. Okay. So now you understand that earlier you will see that J1 will be in the forward bias in the previous example when we will talk about the common base. Here I have made that J1 in the reverse bias and the J2 in the forward bias. So you will see the what will be the input variables. So this is the input section. This is your input section. Okay. So in input section, there will be input from the base current. So you have an input from the base current. Okay. And voltage will be the base input voltage. Okay. That's the VBE. So that's why input current is the IB and the input voltage is the VBE. What you are getting output in the collector region because emitter is common. So the output current will be the IC and output voltage will be the VCE. That's why I see that E in both. It means it's a common emitter. So now you got the input variable and also you got the output variable, right? I told you previously in the last section also that when I make a circuit diagram here, I do not write here IVE. I write a VBB. So I understand you have well understood that why I have written the VBB here, because this is not the VBE. We have here a resistance. We add here a resistance. Okay. So basically the voltage corresponding to this base and emitter in is called VBE. Okay, the voltage drop from this into this in. If there will be no resistance, then this VBB will work as equal to the VBE, right? Because this is also voltage, only voltage between these two terminals. But if there is a resistance which you generally put, then there is a voltage drop from this resistance. Okay, and that voltage drop will be the sum IB into R input. Okay, so now your VB will be equal to VBB minus IB and RI. Okay, so in that case, if the resistance, generally we keep resistance, if resistance is there. If there is no resistance, then it's again it will be VBB will be similar to the VBE. Because the voltage drop and the basic, if you go to the basic, leaving all these points, we'll talk about the only basic. The VB is the voltage drop across base and emitter terminal. Okay, so you apply a voltage Kirchhoff voltage law, and whatever the voltage drop between these two, it will be given to you. Okay, I've explained this in the last class already. Just to revise again the same thing. Okay. So we know the input variable and we know the output variable. We'll go for the current equation. So before going to current equation, I will again recall. Nothing is going to change in as per the this NPN transistor property. Everything is same. The only change is in the common base is common. In the common emitter is becomes common. Okay, it makes the common.
So there will be the one reason that's a collector emitter, and the another reason that is called emitter. Sorry, one is the base emitter and the another is the collector emitter, and that's why you have a input voltage base emitter voltage and output voltage collector emitter voltage. And I have told you why you can write why you are writing VBE not VEB. Okay, why you are writing VCE not VEC. It's all depend. Okay, which terminal has high voltage. Okay, now come to the current equation. So if you see the current equation, we know that from the Kirchhoff current law, emitter current is coming out, base and collector coming is going in. So that's using Kirchhoff current law, I is equal to IC plus IB. Okay, and we also know from the reverse saturation current, okay, from the last class, that IC is equal to alpha I plus ICVO. Okay, now instead of this IC, okay, we can write this IC value, right? So equation 2, the value of IC from equation 2 can be put in the equation 1. So you can see the mathematics. If you do this, now this becomes the wait. So okay, no, we are keep putting the value of IE in the equation 2. Okay, so we just please let me remove these all some. Okay, so in this equation, I have a term I, and I can put the value of I from equation 1 in the equation 2. Okay, so now you see IC is equal to IC, instead of alpha is alpha, and instead of IE, we have kept the IC plus IB plus ICVO. Okay. Okay, now after that, the simple mathematics is there. This IC will go this side, this will become the 1 minus alpha IC is equal to alpha IB plus ICVO. And then we'll do this. Okay, and then if you divide by this term, so IC will become alpha upon 1 minus alpha IB plus ICVO upon 1 minus alpha. Now alpha upon 1 minus alpha, I told you it's called beta. You say it beta, and that is also will be a current gain. Okay, so that is called beta. And 1 upon 1 minus alpha, if we do mathematics, it will come as a beta plus 1. So this section becomes beta, and this section becomes complete. It's 1 by this becomes beta plus 1. Okay, now the equation turns out IC is equal to beta IB plus beta plus 1 ICVO. Since it is a common emitter, so the saturation current should become in the common emitter case. So I told beta 1 plus 1 into ICVO. ICVO is the reverse saturation current in the case of common base. So I have to give another reverse saturation current in the case of common emitter. So that is ICEO, and that should be equal to beta plus 1 ICVO. Okay, and I told you O is the meaning of the open circuit. Okay, so now the IC becomes beta IB plus ICO, and you don't know that this is a reverse saturation current. A reverse saturation current in the order of a micro ampere, and IB is in the milliampere, so it will be very less. So I can just neglect that. Okay, so if I will neglect that, now you can see that IC becomes beta IB, and if you see. You can see that if IC is equal to beta IB, then beta can be done as the IC by IB. IC is, remember, IC is your output current. IB is your input current. Okay, so it's basically a current again, input output divided by input. So it's a current amplification factor in the common emitter amplification. What was the current amplification factor in the common base? It was alpha. And how much the alpha value was? It was some 0.95 to 0.98. So I will calculate beta. So when alpha is 0.98, my beta comes 49. When alpha is 0.195, my beta comes 19. So my beta value will be from 19 to 49. Okay, good. Okay, so now we can see that very simply understand what is beta is. So let us consider beta is 100. Okay, if beta is 100 and you are giving the input current as a 1 milliampere, then how much will be the output current? It will be 100 milliampere because the current again beta is equal to IB by IC by IB. If IB is 1 milliampere, beta is 100, then IC will be 100 milliampere. So see that how much current configuration is happening. So how much current is amplifying? 1 milliampere to 100 milliampere. Remember, in the common base, the alpha, the current amplification factor was less than 1. So basically it's not doing the current amplification. Okay, it was doing a voltage amplification, and that is why in current configuration, common emitter configuration is called current amplifier. Okay, the other configuration called voltage amplifier because they have amplified the voltage. The C configuration is amplifying the current. Okay, so this is the take home point, that common emitter configuration is called current amplifier. Okay, since you are also calculating the amplification factor in the common base, but it's a less than 1, and that's I told you in the last class also. Just for the sake of the concept, we are calculating that, but that does not matter because it's a less than 1. That's not called amplification although. Okay, so now we'll move to the. Okay, so now the reverse saturation current. Okay, so in common base configuration, the equation was IC is equal to alpha I plus ICBO. Okay, see that how it's IC is again there was an output current in the common base. Input current was alpha I, and the reverse saturation current was ICBO. Okay, because common base that's a CB, and it's calculated in for the open circuit. That's why it's O, because it's in the reverse diode. Now in the common emitter, what is your input current? Common base, so that's why it came here. Okay, what is the output current? IC, so it comes here. Okay, and instead of this beta plus 1 ICBO, you can write ICEO. Okay, now see that just for comparing these two terms, you can see that if you know the leakage current in the CV configuration, the leakage current in the common emitter configuration is very much high because it's multiplied by beta plus 1, and you know the beta is more than it's a minimum value is 19. Okay, it's more than it's in the order of the active mode, it's the order of the 100. So it's a beta plus 1 times of the common base reverse bias, reverse saturation current. So reverse saturation current in the common emitter case is a higher, it's a much more higher than the common base. So in the common configuration, common emitter configuration, your reverse saturation current again has a high weightage, the more weightage, more contribution. Okay, now we'll shift to input catalyst curve. So if you remember what is input catalyst curve, and input catalyst curve is a graph between the input variables, okay, for the output voltage. Okay, so now what is your input variable here? Input variable, since input variable is the base current and input current so input variables, input current is the base current and input voltage is the base emitter voltage. You can again recall this from here. See that input variable is your IB. Okay, I can use the marker is there, spotlight, very good. Okay, so you can see that this is your IB. Okay, because base current is from here and the base voltage VBE. That's VBE is the base voltage, input voltage, you can say input voltage. So that's why it's the input variable. So graph will be between the input current IB and the input voltage VBE. Okay. Okay, good. So now this is a complete circuit diagram where in the first I have left the I'm not added the R1. I told you that purposefully I have not added the R1 because just to remind you that what is the difference between the VBB and the VBE. Okay, now I have added their resistance R1. Now you can understand the VBE will be the VBB minus I1 IB R1. Hello. Okay, correct. Okay, now you can see that these are the written here also, just for. Okay, now you see that with this. Now I have to draw a voltage, sorry, a curve between base current and the base emitter voltage for the output voltage VCE. Okay. Now this is this transistor. I am converting this transistor into two diodes. Okay, taking that's like so diode D1 and diode D2. Okay, so this is NP. So this is see that NPN. Diode D1 and diode D2. Okay. Leave these parts first, come to here. Now see that I told you that for the input characteristic curve, I have to draw a graph between the IB and the VBE. Okay. So IB is the base current and the VB is the base emitter voltage. I told you just before this topic that reverse saturation current was in the this micron order, and your output, okay, the output current is in the order of milliampere, and that is why we just, and also not only this, let me clear here. Yes, here. See that I told you this ICO, okay, this is the reverse saturation current that is very much less than beta IB, and I told you this is in the order of micron. Okay, this is the order of micron. But if you see that I've written that IB is also in the order of micron. Then the question comes, how it can be the negligible? Both are in the micron order. No. IB is also in the micron order, but it's multiplied by the beta. It's multiplied by the beta. Okay. So this is also in the micron order. This is also in the micron order. Okay. But since it's multiplied with the beta, now it can be negligible. If you see in the common base case, this part was in the milliampere case. Okay. Now again come here. Now we'll put we have a graph between this IB and this IB. Now this section was in the forward bias. You are applying this voltage. This is in the forward bias. Okay. When you are talking, you are taking the input variables. You are dealing with the input variables. Both input variables comes in the forward bias case. Okay. So that the case the D2. That is in the D2, and the D1 is the diode is in the reverse bias case. So you know that the current flows in the reverse bias is negligible. It's very less. So basically, the only D2 is working, D1 is not working. Okay. So you hold this transistor can be considered as a single diode D2, and that D2 is in the forward bias. So this complete transistor NPN can be considered as a single diode D2, which is in the forward bias. So whatever be the characteristics of the transistor will be similar to the forward characteristics of the diode D2. Okay, and that's why if you remember the forward characteristics of a diode, it's a simple one. This one, see that goes and this one, and then transistor IB reverse input characteristics will be the same. Okay. Now what will happen if I will increase the VC? What will happen if I will increase the VC? Now this is a good question. If you increase the VC, VC is the what? See this portion, VC is the current voltage between the collector and the emitter. That's the reverse bias. So it means you are increasing the reverse bias. So if you are increasing the reverse bias voltage increasing means you are increasing the width of the depletion layer. And as I told you in the last class, early effect. So when you increase the reverse bias voltage, the width of the depletion layer increases, and it increases and it penetrates more in the base region, because base is the lightly doped. So penetration is more in the base region. So it's penetrate more in the base region, then effective width of the base where the recombination can happen is going to be reduced. As you are increasing the voltage, that's the reverse bias voltage, that's the VCE, your penetration in the base region is increasing, and hence effective base width is decreasing, and hence the recombination is decreasing, and hence your base current is decreasing. Okay. Now you can see that if you are coming from the 4 volt to 6 volt, you are coming from the 4 volt to 6 volt. Okay. And if I use this one now, okay, now for the same voltage of VB, okay, this is the voltage of current of IB here for the 6 volt, and this is the current of IB here and the 4 volt. Now if you see that if you go from the 4 volt to 6 volt, your base current is reducing, and that's what we discussed. So if you will increase the reverse bias voltage, then due to the early effect, okay, the penetration in the base region will be more, so effective base width will be less, and hence the recombination will be less, and hence the base current will be less, and that's why the curve is shifting this side. Okay, good. This all is written there. You can go. Okay. Now come to the output characteristics. Just I will check if everything is going good. So I can find. Good. Okay, now come to the output characteristics. So for the output characteristics, it's a curve between the output variables for the input current. Okay, so output variables you have collector as the output current, variable, collector current as the output variable, is the output current, and the output voltage is the VCE. Okay. You have collector as the output current, variable, collector current as the output variable, the output current. Okay, good. It was running. Okay, so we have output variables, output current IC, the collector current IC, and the collector emitter voltage, and that has to be for the different IBs. Okay, because the input current is IB. Now see that IC is equal to beta IB plus beta plus 1 ICBO, and that's what we call this current equation. Okay, instead of beta plus 1 ICBO, you can write the ICO. Okay, now if your base current, consider your base current is 0. So if your base current is 0, then IC becomes the beta 1 plus ICBO, that is the ICO, that's the reverse saturation current in the common emitter. Okay, and this current is very small. This current is basically a very small. You can see that now we have again the output current in terms of milliampere. Okay. So now you see that for this IB is equal to 0, my IC will be ICO, that is reverse saturation current, very less amount, and that is why it is here. Okay, see that. Okay, see that, you can see that here the IC, okay, the IC is constant for all values of VC. It looks like the IC is constant for all values of VC because IC is equal to ICU. It does not depend. It does not depend on the VCE, so it should be constant. But that's not the case. Okay, it depends on voltage, and that is why this is not parallel. It's not parallel. It's a changing one. It's very little one, but it's changing. Okay. That's the reason is this IC depends on the VCE. The IC depends on the VCE. Okay. And that is why it's not parallel. It's a changing one, but since this change is very minute, and that's why it looks like a parallel. And why IC depends on the VCE? You can understand this by the early effect. This is the early effect. Already we explained this. We explained the first day only what happens in the early case, early effect case. Okay. So if your VC is increasing, okay, then your IB is decreasing and terms IC is increasing. Okay, now we'll come to the another part. Okay, so first is that this we have understand. Okay, this we have done. This portion we have understand that. Okay, at IB is equal to 0, this will be the reverse saturation current value. Now, what will happen if I will increase IB? Okay, so you increase IB, take the IB is equal to 10 microampere. So if you take IB as a 10 microampere and multiplied by beta, beta is a nearby 100. Okay, so 110,000, 1000 multiplied by this. Okay, so maybe here beta is a 50 for this example. So if it is 50, 15 to 10 it's a 500, and 500 to microampere is a 0.5 milliampere. See that this value comes to 5.5 milliampere. Okay. Similar way, as you are increasing the IB values, IB is some equal to the IC is equal to beta IB plus ICO, but ICO is very less. So that's what is negligible. So IC is equal to beta IB. Whatever the beta is multiplied by the whatever the IB is multiplied by beta, and that's what you will get the IC. Okay, so that's what this curve gives. Okay, now we'll come to the this part. Okay, so that's what called is this part is called active region. This part is called cutoff region. Okay, because less than IB, you are not putting the input current. Whatever you have there, current as output is the reverse saturation current. Okay. This is the active region where basically you want to run your transistor in that region. Now come to the saturation region. This is another part we have to study. Okay, the saturation region. Okay, for the saturation region, see that simply this portion. Okay, y-axis. It's called V is a VCE, and what is VCE? I can write VC is equal to VCB plus VBE. VCB plus VBE, and then VCB can be written as a VCE minus VBE. Okay, VC minus VBE. Now see that if you go to this side, okay, your cutoff is going to this side, your VC is negative because this is a positive VC, this is a negative VC. So now this VC becomes negative. And already negative minus negative, so your VCB is also negative. When you say it's a VCB is negative, it means what the meaning of this? It means potential at C side is less than B. When I told you that, see now that concept now is working here. I told when you write VCB, it means collector has a higher voltage and base has a lower voltage. But if your VC becomes negative, okay, that's why you are changing polarity. It means now base will have a higher voltage and the emitter collector will have a lower voltage, and that's why potential at C side is less than the B, and it means the base will be higher voltage and the voltage at the collector will be the lower one. Okay, and what that means? See that we are talking and this VC is working on the diode D1. Okay, Now see that it will again, it will recombine here. See here. Now this D1, okay. Now the polarity have changed here. Okay, polarity have changed. Earlier, if you see that here VCC are now in the terms of part 2, you can say it's a VCE. In the case of VCE, now the collector has a higher voltage and emitter has a lower voltage. But now, due to the negative VCE, this becomes the lower voltage and this becomes the higher voltage. Okay, so if I will make a diagram here, this has been changed. This becomes this and this becomes that. Okay, your collector base has become the higher voltage and your collector becomes the lower voltage. Now see that N is attached to the lower voltage, P is attached to the higher voltage. Now it means the D1 becomes in the forward bias. Very careful. Again, I am repeating. Since I'm again repeating here. See that. Since we are talking about this side and this side, your VC is negative. So this VC is negative. Now both are the negative. Negative minus is again negative. So VCB is also negative. VCB negative means voltage at the base end is higher than the collector end. Now if you come here, it means what you want to say? You want to say that voltage at the base end is higher and the voltage at the collector end is lower. Okay, and you want to say that the lower voltage is connected to the N side and you want to say higher voltage connected to the P side. It means this diode D1 is in the forward bias. D2 was already in the forward bias. So both junctions, both diodes are in the forward bias. And if you again recall, see that if your both emitter base and collector base junction is in the forward bias, okay, is in the forward bias, the mode will be the saturation mode. The mode will be the saturation mode. This is in the on condition. Okay, so and that is why it is called saturation region. See that we are talking about this saturation region. Okay, so diode D2 is already forward. Okay, someone can ask, okay sir, this is okay, if it is negative then I can understand, but what about this section? What about this section? This section BC is not negative, then how it will be? Okay, we'll discuss that part also. So if wait, this is a common connector. Okay. See that if you will see that if for a small voltage of VC again, okay, even it is a positive, your base emitter voltage is what? Input voltage. Base emitter is your input voltage. Okay, and that is a higher voltage. So this is low put positive, this is the higher negative, and then again the VC will be in the negative. Okay, and again if it is negative, then your that concept will work. It's negative, it means the voltage at the base will be higher. The base voltage at the base will be higher, it means the diode D1 will be in the forward bias, and again it's in the saturation region. Okay, we have already discussed about the cutoff region. Okay, you see the cutoff region below IB. Below IB means IB is negative, and if IB is negative, it means the direction of IB is changed. When we say current negative, it means what? We change the direction of the current. Okay, so if you change the direction of the current, what will happen? Your diode which was in the forward bias, it will become the reverse bias. Okay, the diode which was in the forward bias it will convert into a reverse bias. So now what will happen? The diode D2 will be in the reverse bias. Okay, it will change the base current direction. Now earlier the base was going in, now the base is coming out. Okay, because direction has changed. So this D2 becomes the reverse bias. D1 was already in the reverse bias. Okay, now the both diode is in the reverse bias condition. And again, if you recall that portion, See that both is in the reverse bias. Both is in the reverse bias. Both is in the reverse bias. What it's called? It's called cutoff mode. Okay. So we have done with the active mode. We have done with the cutoff mode. We have done with the simultaneous mode. Sorry, saturation mode. I hope I have done with this today's. Okay, so some current gain is there. Okay. Okay, so now the current gain, I already discussed the current gain. Current gain was the IC upon IB. Okay. In the case of the DC, but in the case of DC, it's a constant value. So that's why it's IC by IB. It's not that it's basically a static one. But when you go to the dynamic case, DC, okay, it's become the dynamic. Sorry, in the case of the AC, it becomes the dynamic. And when you say dynamic, it means that will be calculated by the small change at some constant output voltage. That is a VCE. I will talk more about this AC current gain and DC current gain in the next class. Okay. So when you talk about the DC current gain, it's a static value. Okay. And that's why it's IC by IB. We'll talk about the AC current. Now for different VCE, it means for different output voltage. Okay. That's a collector emitter. Your IC and IB is changing. You know that because in the curve you see that for different VCE, you have a different IB curve. Okay, you have a different output lattice curve. Okay, you have different IC and VC, and that's why its value will change, and that's why beta will be calculated from the change in IC upon change in IB at constant VCE, and the value you know that it will comes nearby from nearby 100 to 150. Okay, generally it becomes in the 150. Okay, so by this way we have completed the common emitter part. Now we'll start the next class, common collector, and then I will talk about the physical significance of all these beta AC, beta DC. See, I have not merged that. I generally during the class, during the topic only, I start explaining the physical concept, physical meaning. But since it's an online class, I can't see you that you are understanding this or not. And over that, if I give you the physical significance, I am not sure you are going to get that. And that's why I give you a time. You should understand that. You should go through the again video. You read it. Okay. Ask me question in the next session when you will take the online class. Okay. There you ask. And then once we are done with the theories, then we will go to the physical significances. Okay. Thank you very much. Just wait because this is a stop sharing. I will stop sharing this, and then I have to be thank you note here. Done. So this is so we have the pause one. Okay, so what is about this resume sharing? Or is that oh, so somehow this is stopped. That's why it's not there. Okay, no issue. So it stops here. Okay, go here. Last slide. And then I should go again. Then I should share screen. Now it's sharing. Okay, so thank you very much. Now today I will upload this video to the YouTube channel, okay? And then you can go with that. If you have any question, anyone, you can ask me in that from the YouTube channel comments box also, and during the live class also. Thank you very much. Say bye bye, bye bye. So now I should end this live first. There is a live. Huh? Where I should stop the live. Start live stream. Hopefully the live stream has gone. Stop sharing.